Going into the 2003 NASCAR Cup Series season, the relationship between Johnny Andretti and Petty Enterprises seemed to be on the downturn. The combination had failed to win a race or even make the top 20 in points since 1999. Perhaps 2003 would be the year where things turned around for the team.
That's Andretti, and a car's up near the wall in turn 3.
That's the 99 car.
No caution yet. Caution is out.
Gotta have a caution. Gotta have a caution.
There is action everywhere.
You all right, Jesse?
Trouble, John Andretti. Hard crash on the front straightaway. Caution is out.
Boy, this is going to hurt a bunch of guys. Well,
Yes,
let's see. No, I don't know, Larry. Pit road is pretty clean.
Yeah, but you had a lot of cars on pit road that had just went a lap down, and they'll have fresh tires. Mark Martin's over in the middle of 3 and 4 right now. John Andretti had pitted 6 laps ago, and before that car even slid to the wall, the left rear sheet metal was all torn off it. Let's have a look here, top of your screen. Looks like Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car got into his left rear. And Jimmy was one of the cars on fresh tires, too. He had just been to pit road about 4 or 5 laps ago. Now, what that'll do for those guys like Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace, they will stay out. They will be at the tail end of the lead lap. They will be in front of Mark Martin and all these guys leading with hopes of caution coming out right after the restart.
We go back to green.
We got trouble already.
Casey Mears, John Andretti, Todd Bodine on the
Casey Mears
restart.
hits Todd Bodine again down on the apron, and the 54 car caution is back out.
All they did was wave the green flag.
John Andretti in the 43 there, he had been to pit road for some service.
And you want to know why you look in the record books over the last few years here, why you see 2 names, Jeff Gordon and Rusty Wallace? Look where they are.
Out in front of all this.
Way out there.
Now the field is all single file and accordioned up here as they come down to turn 3. Oh boy, that started when Todd Bodine got in the back. Was that Kyle Petty ahead of him?
Yeah, it was Kyle Petty in the 45.
And it's just a big accordion. You squeeze it, and this is what happens.
Yeah, and somebody goes and somebody doesn't. And when the guy doesn't go, he gets run over from behind.
Trouble, turn 1. Hard, a car in the wall, and spinning down to the bottom. It's going to be 10 or more cars involved. Johnny Benson. Here they come to the flag, and everybody pretty much out of the throttle. Mayhem in turn 1.
Well, let's see if we can get some kind of idea about what happens here.
Darrell, I believe the 12 car, Ryan Newman, looks like he was out of shape, maybe starting to get loose by himself.
And Newman almost flipped over.
Remember, he had that hard crash at Daytona where he got on his roof back in February.
I can't imagine that there wasn't some sort of contact that started it.
27 cars on the lead lap at Richmond, and I think all of them have had a chance to run in the top 5 tonight at one time or another. John Andretti, just as we went to break, put us under caution for this spin at turn 2.
Probably a little bit of help from old DJ in the 88 car.
Yeah, quite a bit of help.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. Just a little.
It's that new logo.
It's faster.
That is Elliott Sadler, the outside pole sitter, who's come to rest against the outside wall. He climbed out of the car okay. He slid up in the oil in turn 3, as did John Andretti and Larry Foyt, when Ricky Craven's engine appeared to let go.
Yeah, what happened, Ricky Craven, this was going off into turn 3, and Craven got up high right there as the engine expired, let go on him, and then Larry Foyt in the 14 car was right behind him. He gets in the oil. He's going to hit the outside wall, goes up and hits it. And then John Andretti in the 43 car was involved in well. And then what happened when the caution came out, Elliott Sadler in the 38 car was trying to go to the high side around Matt Kenseth and around the leaders to get his lap back. He got in oil and he hit the outside wall and rode it around. He hit it in turn 3, ended up here almost right at the start-finish line.
Hard in the wall.
Jack Sprague, I believe, the 0 car.
There's come more cars still spinning. They're not done yet. They're all slowing down, running over each other.
Brett Bodine, Kyle Petty,
Kurt Busch, 97 car.
Thing I noticed about Jack's car, Larry, it seemed to be really good on the long run. It's probably a little loose on the get-go there, and it twitched on him. And of course, here these guys all come just piling in on each other. I'm not sure what's going on with the spotter guys today.
There is the hit list for this seventh caution rather, at lap 210.
14 races into the season, and Andretti was released from the team. To that point, he'd gotten a best finish of 8th place at Fontana and a best start of 6th place at Las Vegas. Additionally, Andretti had 8 finishes of 30th place or worse. Christian Fittipaldi, another IndyCar turned NASCAR driver, would replace Johnny Andretti in car number 43, although he would also be scheduled to do some races in the sister number 44 car.
Caution is out once again. This will be the 5th one of the day. Christian Fittipaldi backed it into the tire wall. You see there on the outside of turn number 10. And the Cheerios Dodge headed for pit road thereafter. That is not one of his tires. That's from the soft wall barrier there. Here's a look at the incident that brought out the caution. Christian Fittipaldi locked it up and backed it into the tire wall at turn 10.
You're in trouble. Christian Fittipaldi, who was on the lead lap in 23rd position.
Now that's going to help all those guys that thought they could make it these caution flag laps, but Jeff Gordon is going to have to stop, and he's going to be mired way back in traffic on the restart.
Yeah, and that's the track position we talked about earlier. That's not going to help him. It's almost impossible to get through all those cars. 12th caution flag of the New England 300, and by the way, the record for most is 17, so we got a while to go. Not out of reach, though.
There's a 43 car.
43's going to get a little help here, I bet.
Yeah, Michael Walter gets in the back of him.
Here's Christian Fittipaldi in the Petty 43. Same spot, no provisionals to fall back on. They've used all they're eligible for. He's got to make the field on time. Bad news for Christian. He was 50th fastest in yesterday's practice. Can he take advantage of maybe some cooler track conditions?
He's got him. He's got the conditions perfect right now.
He does. Laid up against that wall off turn 4.
Although he's about 3 miles an hour off at the start-finish line anyway.
Christian's uncle Emerson, 2-time Indianapolis 500 winner. Christian ran the 500 once in his open-wheel career. Finished second, 1995.
What's the track tap down there, Matt?
It is 100.0. Remember when it started the day, it was 107.5, and when Kevin Harvick knocked down his time, it was 97. So, you know, it is getting closer, creeping back down, which is good news for Labonte, Rusty Wallace, and Jimmy McMurray.
He's off. He's off for second already.
Yeah. Well, this is, like I said, it's a momentum racetrack. If you're not carrying the speed going into turn 1, you know, you're not going to find it. You have to have 200+ mile an hour going into 1. You have to be able to carry that all the way back around the racetrack. If you're 4 mile an hour off going into 1, you're not going to make it up.
Not enough for Christian Fittipaldi. 43rd, needed to be 36th or better.
It's not good when your starting spot matches your car number and your car number 43. Terry Labonte is still the car to beat for 36th spot, 49.905.
Best qualifying effort for Christian in his 8 previous Winston Cup tries was a 17th out at Phoenix last November. It looks like he's going to come up short as far as being in the Brickyard 400 field is concerned. Nope, slower on lap 2. 43rd. 43 car will not be in Sunday's race.
And Schrader's
hanging in there.
Oh, trouble!
Stretch. Steve Park, Kyle Petty, Todd Bodine got a piece of it, and I believe Christian Fittipaldi did also.
Man, oh man.
Well, that took 6 laps. And that'd be the second car of the weekend for Steve Park, who had a practice crash here on Friday, yesterday.
Yeah, let's see who should be mad here.
Well, we see Todd Bodine, the 54 car, and looks like Jeff Green gets in the back of the 30. Jeff Green in the 1 gets in the back of Steve Park, and up the hill he goes. Into the wall, and Kyle Petty.
I think Todd is going to get into Kyle here, trying to avoid Steve Park. Locked him up, got bumped by Casey Mears, clunk. So that didn't take long. The first angry drivers of the night have been found here at Bristol. Whoop, got trouble. Christian Fittipaldi, front straightaway. Caution flag number 11.
Uh-oh. That's my number, wasn't it? Can't have any more.
Look, trouble, turn 3. 4 cars, 5 cars involved.
And Dale Jarrett.
Michael Waltrip. Dale Jarrett just got a piece of Waltrip. Got Christian Fittipaldi and Rusty Wallace. All in the wreck. That's 2 weeks in a row. Look at that.
My goodness.
I think a lot of that was from the 88 hit him.
Yeah.
The second impact there.
So that engine change. Dale Jarrett qualified 19th. Rusty Wallace still sitting on the racetrack. Dale Jarrett qualified 19th, but during his qualifying run, tagged a valve.
Can't get it to go.
With a piston. Had to change it.
Christian Fittipaldi. And add Tony Raines to that list of drivers I gave you.
That's a lot of damage to that car, Wally.
Yeah.
Man.
Every end, sides, both sides.
There's Tony Raines.
Well, the 43 car is the first one we see in the wall. What caused that all that to begin? No way of knowing.
Zero got into the left rear quarter panel, the 43 car of Christian Fittipaldi. Looks like what started it.
Uh-oh. Trouble in the
John
back.
Andretti.
Looks like Biffle got in the back of John Andretti on that deal. And the big stack up, Jason Leffler, Jamie McMurray. Might be a couple others in the cloud of smoke.
That Jarrett again?
I see Dale Jarrett sitting there all crashed in. Looks like Christian Fittipaldi got a piece of it, too.
I think we've already beat the Bristol deal, BP, on anger.
Oh, now some of these are repeaters.
Jason Leffler.
Right?
Yeah.
Kurt Busch got a piece of it.
Well, I think it will watch the one car there, and Biffle just get in the back of the one car and turn them sideways and stack them up.
Meanwhile, the wreck happens coming off turn 2, 100 yards behind the first wreck, just the chain reaction.
And they're still wrecking down the left corner of the screen.
You see the damage on the one car where Biffle got in the back of Andretti.
And there's that cloud of smoke we talked about that's so hard to see through in the lights.
Fittipaldi would start 10 of 11 races entered in the car, as he failed to qualify at Indianapolis, while his best start was at 7th at Michigan. Fittipaldi failed to finish better than 24th at Pocono. In all, Fittipaldi only finished 5 races, none of them on the lead lap. Shane Meal, an Xfinity Series driver for Innovative Motorsports, would replace Fittipaldi, who was in car 44 at Daytona.
Here are those who failed to qualify for the race. The top 2 of those, Petty Enterprises cars. Kyle Petty saying the engine department let him down this week. Kyle starting way back in the field in 42nd spot.
Meal was unable to qualify at Daytona in his only entry for Petty Enterprises. It should be noted that teammate Fittipaldi also failed to qualify. For Watkins Glen, Fittipaldi was once again in the number 44 car. As a result, American Le Mans Series driver Scott Maxwell would serve as the driver of the number 43 car.
Scott Maxwell comes onto the track in the Cheerios Petty Dodge number 43.
Or Scott won this year's Rolex 24-hour race at Daytona in February in the Daytona prototype class, and he actually has the R&D group of Petty Enterprises working with him. Greg Stedman, who was the crew chief on this car for a number of years, is looking after this effort. They tested it at Virginia International Raceway and Road Atlanta and felt like they had a pretty good test, but they definitely struggled in practice, Mike. 43rd quickest. This is a car that has no provisionals. They have to get in the fastest 36.
So Maxwell, a veteran, winning road racer, but To my thinking, Larry, first time he's been in what we call a big car.
A heavy car.
Yep.
He actually set the track record here at Watkins Glen in the Motorola Cup North America Street Stock Championship Series back a few years ago. So he's familiar with the racetrack, but Mike, I think it's the heavier car and the horsepower that makes a difference.
Well, now those cars in that Street Stock Series weigh just as much as a Winston Cup car, but the big difference is the tires. They're not on the type of tire that's used here in Winston Cup. So an adaptation for Scott Maxwell. And at 119.5 miles an hour, that might be borderline.
Yeah, he didn't actually even back up what he ran in practice, which we've not seen any of our first 4 drivers really do that, but a lot like Dale Earnhardt Jr. said, it could be something with an early draw and the track somewhat sitting, and the Busch North cars are on the racetrack, and they run bias tires, and that kind of puts different grip on the racetrack, so it could take several cars on the track in qualifying to get it back where it was in practice for these guys.
Going homers appear unofficially to be Joe Vardy, Kenny Schrader, Scott Maxwell, and Larry Foyt. Jeff Gordon has won the Bud Pole. And there are the going homers from Watkins Glen. 2 Winston Cup regulars, 2 road race specialists.
Unfortunately, Maxwell's road racing prowess was not enough to qualify the car at Watkins Glen. After getting released from both Richard Childress Racing and Dale Earnhardt Incorporated, ironically in favor of John Andretti in the latter case, 2000 Xfinity Series champion Jeff Green would become the 5th driver of the 43 car in 2003, doing so on a race-by-race basis.
That is Jeff Green behind the wheel of the Cheerios Dodge of the Petties. This is the 3rd different ride that Green has had this season. Started out in the AOL Chevy for 11 races, 12 in the Pennzoil Chevy, and this is his 6th race for the Petties.
You know, we talk about the speeds at the end of the straightaway. We're seeing 173, 174 miles per hour. That's in the middle of the corner. That's the slowest part of the racetrack. Let's watch it right here in turn 1 and 2. 173 miles per hour. Again, the slowest part of the racetrack.
So when Michael Waltrip says he's scared, well, he's not being completely serious, but he's not completely kidding you either. You roll off into a corner like this at 190 miles an hour, and the back end starts to step sideways on you, and that will stop your heart.
It's kind of like driving right basically on a razor's edge. You never know which way you're going to go, on which side you're going to fall, and that's what these guys are faced with when they go out and make these runs. They basically hold their breath, you know, for 30 seconds.
I've never seen been on a thrill ride that can compare. Not even come close. Dave, we hit you with a going home list, 6 of them who failed to qualify. There were 50 cars entered. A.J. Foyt entered both of his cars and then withdrew the 50, so 49 took time.
And back at Phoenix International Raceway, caution flag has just come out. Jeff Green has lost an engine down the backstretch into turn 3 in the Petty 43, and so the 8th yellow flag is waving over this race.
No caution. Caution is out.
Caution is out. Jeff Green in trouble in the 43.
Like he has lost an engine. I see some smoke. The engine isn't running because of the flame in the exhaust pipe.
Jeff was running 18th at the time he had his problem, and the caution comes out for the 4th time in the race.
Green would ultimately enter each of the final 9 races of the season, starting 8 as he failed to qualify at Atlanta. He would get a best start of 9th place at Kansas and would get a best finish of 16th at Dover, his debut race with the team.